Hi, my name is Brooke Webb. I wanted to take you on a virtual tour of my final project for my EDU 620 class. Here's my page. I'm going to open up a new window with incognito to get to my page. I'm going to click Final Project. This is for a ninth grade language arts class using colons to introduce quotations and argumentative writing. This would be the last lesson in probably a week-long unit on argumentative writing. The main standard we're focusing on for this lesson is how to use a colon to introduce a quotation. And then we're also going to layer in that application to the writing to introduce quotations. Here are the student instructions. The way I set up the website is with the components of the lesson so that they know the workflow. I try to be real transparent with that. Here's my lesson plan. I embedded it, and here's the link. Just real quickly, we talked about the standards we're covering. The objectives are that they can identify correct usage of colons and then also apply and integrate them in their writing. I listed out all of the things they'd be needing. For their introduction, this is where I'm going to use that online quiz feature to get a fast formative. The explicit instruction would be that flip direct instruction where the students would go through the Nearpod lesson and see the teacher model and then answer some questions along the way. Then there'd be some face-to-face instruction, collaborating with the students, which is the guided practice that they do together using an exemplar where the teacher goes through it with them. The independent practice is the majority of the lesson, 40 minutes. The students will go through the 4 interactive tools, a Padlet, a Kahoot review game, a Quizlet flashcard set, and then IXL lesson practice. Lastly, for that independent part, they would open up their already created argumentative writing draft, review the work they've already done, and see if they can make some revisions based on the practice they've done with the quotations being introduced by colons. Assessment, there are formative assessments. Their summative assessment is to turn in their draft to the discussion board in Google Classroom, and then to give their students some feedback. The online quiz is just a fast formative. I've embedded it here and also linked it in case students had problems getting there. It's just asking a multiple choice question and then a confidence level check at the end for some self-assessment. Open that up so you can see it. Here it is. Then is the Nearpod, where students would access it. This would be the mini lesson where they can see the teacher giving them some reminder feedback about lessons about quotations with colons along the way. They can pause the lesson. Once they get there, then there's some interactive questions. I try to do a open-ended. There's also multiple choice. And then there's also some here where there are another open-ended and it ends with a multiple choice. So it's about 5 minutes long, but it's to review what they've already learned and make sure that they know how to practice. All right, so after they go through the Nearpod and complete those questions, then would they do the guided practice with the teacher? She would project this up on the board, go through some examples and have them turn and talk with their neighbor. There's some independent practice, and this is where they'd spend the majority of their time. The first one is a Padlet, where I have just compiled some multimodal resources for them to practice with. So there is a video that they can watch. There's an anchor chart, a flow chart. There is some more information from Purdue OWL, and then like a funny little video with examples. So they would look through that. There is a rubric at the bottom for teachers to be able to, description for the students about what to do. And then the rubric is linked so teachers could use that if they're giving some kind of formative assessment grade for the students using that. The second tool is Kahoot. They would just go, I have it embedded here. The purpose is to play alone in challenge mode. And click OK. If they wanted to open it up full screen, they can, but it plays really nicely right here. Colon Quest, just measuring their knowledge, giving them some fun. It's interactive and it gives them some feedback, and it also takes a formative pulse check for the teacher as well. So the student would play, it gives them the answer, and so on and so forth. So that would be a good review, and it's very engaging. The next one, Interactive 3, is a a flashcard set where students are given exemplar sentences using colons or not. And then they have to decide if it's correct or not. And on the back of the card is if it's correct or incorrect and the why. So they get some feedback there as well. Here is a rubric in case teachers wanted to use that also as a formative check. I also linked, in case they couldn't access it embedded, I linked it here. And then the last one is IXL, which is a platform. We actually use it as a subscription tool at my school, but you can also access some of their lessons for free. So all they'd have to do is click to go to the website, and this also gives them some feedback as well. It's asking them to put something there and then submit it, and then it checks them and tells them if they're correct or incorrect and gives them an explanation, which is great. And then they would go to the next one and it gives them a score. So that is another way to practice. That also has a rubric as well. And then down here at the bottom, lastly, for their practice, they would go to their Google Drive, look at their argumentative writing draft, see if they needed to revise anything, and then their ticket out the door would be to submit their revised draft with their colons and quotations into our discussion board, and then if they had time to repost for class. So thanks for seeing my project. My final project. I think it would be a great lesson, and I was excited to learn all these awesome tools. Thanks so much.